So last month I had you guys go and I had you guys rank 4 random Danganronpa characters. They were characters that I chose that I just put together from each game. One being from Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, one being from Goodbye Despair, one being from Killing Harmony, and the last one from Danganronpa 3 or Danganronpa 0. And one thing I noticed in the comment section was that a lot of you guys were kind of upset with how some characters were portrayed. And what I mean by that is where essentially some characters were kind of put in a really shitty situation where they really kind of stood no chance. Like the Danganronpa 0 characters, they stood no chance against other characters because not as many people have read Danganronpa 0 compared to playing the other 3 games. So it made me think, what is a way I can make this fair so every character gets ranked fairly? And that's what I did. I made a bunch of community posts where pretty much you guys had to choose between S tier, A/B tier, C/D tier, or F tier. And we just ranked a bunch of the Danganronpa characters. So today we're going to be finally putting all those characters that you guys have ranked onto a tier list and seeing where everyone placed. And with that being said, let's just hop right into this. I'm not going to keep going on. Let's start placing the characters. One other thing I wanted to add, guys, is that a lot of the art I use for these, some of it is official art, but there is art from Danganronpa artists. So I do want to say, if any of you guys know the artists that made some of these like character arts, please let me know. Like, you can either send me a message on Twitter, you can comment down below, you can send me a message on Discord. But if you know any of the artists, please let me know, and I 100% do want to credit them for their art because I did use their art in these videos. But yeah, as you guys can see here, we have 7 tiers here that we're going to be ranking characters in. And the reason why there's a double S tier is because I feel like there's some characters that are going to be even higher than S tier, because there is a lot of characters that you guys did give S tiers to. So I thought to myself, how about we give characters that got 75% or above in S tier the double S tier rank, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to start off with our very first character here being Ryota Miturai. Now, originally how I started this off was I was just going to do random Danganronpa characters again, but I thought to myself afterwards, why not just do them all by the same game that they're from, or the same media that they're from? So the first 2 are going to be from different games than Trigger Happy Havoc, but afterwards it'll be Trigger Happy Havoc 2, 3, etc. You get the idea. So Ryota Miturai got a 60% in C/D. Now, you have people wondering, okay, well, how are we going to pick where he's going to go from here? Because you have C/D. It's not the same, you know, it's one or the other. So how it's going to work is for every character, we're going to go by the second highest tier. For example, C/D is obviously the highest, but the second highest is A/B at 24%. So that means we're going to be putting him in C tier. So luckily I already did go and I pretty much organized all these characters in the order that we're going to do them in, because to be honest, last time I had to struggle finding some of these characters. So we're starting them off right in the middle, so that's kind of perfect. Alright, next up we've got Mikan Sumiki, and she has a 49% in A/B, but she also has a 34% in C/D. So this is going to be the opposite of last time, so she's going to go in B tier. Which, so far, I think that's fair. I think both of these rankings are both pretty fair. Alright, now we're officially getting into Trigger Happy Havoc. So the very first character we've got from Trigger Happy Havoc is Hifumi, with an overwhelmingly 66% F tier. Damn. That's, damn. Yeah, I mean, I believe it. I believe it, guys. I'm not shocked. Honestly, yeah, let's keep the Redditor down in F tier. I'm down with that. Alright, next up, we've got Celestia Ludenberg, who is actually really coming close here. So Celeste is in A/B for 61%, but you'll notice here we've got 18% in S and 20% in C/D. Now let's say, for example, if this was actually tied, like if this was 19 and this was 19, considering we have the extra 2% in F, I would have to go with B, but luckily we already have this being higher, so she's just gonna go in B tier. So I'm fine with that. I mean personally, I would have liked to have her up one more tier maybe, but I think B is perfectly fair. Alright, next up we've got Byakuya Togami, who's got 54% A/B and 34% S, which I'm honestly kind of surprised he didn't make it to S, but I can understand why, in the sense of like him being the least liked antagonist-like character, if you know what I mean. Like, I feel like a lot more people would probably pick Nagito or Kokichi as their favorite antagonists from the games over him. So I guess I can see that's why he's in A tier instead of S, but I'm not too sure. But either way, he's going to be our very first A tier character, so that's fair. I'm down with that. Coming in next, we've got Chihiro with 51% S tier. Holy shit. Okay, well, luckily we don't have to look at any of the other things, but I'm really surprised to see Chihiro above Byakuya. That's kind of crazy. Now we've got my fellow donut enjoyer. I don't know if you guys can see the bag, but this is a Dunkin'. Yeah, there we go. Fellow Dunkin' enjoyer, Aoi Asahina, who is also going to be joining Byakuya in A tier. Honestly, I'm down with that. I think Aoi is a pretty good character, all things considered. I think she's a pretty nice girl. She's kind of dumb at points, like when she doesn't remember names and shit, but like, I still think she's a pretty nice character, and she's overall like a good person, I would say. Alright, next up, you've got Sakura Ogami with 66% S tier. Wow, okay. Honestly, good on you, Sakura. You deserve that. Sakura does deserve the S tier. 100%. 100,000%. And the craziest part, to give you guys some backstory on when I first made these polls, there was a good, like, few days where Sakura did not get a single F tier. Like, it was at 0% for a pretty, like, good amount of time. But it looks like a lot of people wanted to troll and put 1% now, so, I mean, good on you, I guess. But this was 0% for a while, so just let that sink in. Let that sink in how good of a character Sakura is. Okay. Next up, we've got Taka Ishimaru, who is sitting at A/B for 56%, and he's got 26% in C/D. I think I'm up here personally. I think he's an S tier character, but I can understand why we've got him down in B tier, because I don't know. I think his character could have been so much better had they not killed him off in Chapter 3, but overall, I still think he's a really fun character. Alright, here's a big one. This is our very first double S tier. We've got Kyoko Kirigiri at 79% S tier. Yeah, notice how little all these other categories are. Like, that's fucking crazy. So, we're putting her very first representative of the double S tier. Good on you, Kyoko. Good on you. Kyoko W character. W character. Very next character we've got is Mukuro Ikusaba, the 16th student hidden within the school, sitting at 54% A/B tier, and she's got 30% in C/D. So she's in B tier. She's beaten out just Hifumi, I guess, at this point, and Miturai, but that's understandable. Like, I think all the first game characters minus Hifumi are all pretty much within this range. Like, I think the first game's characters are just pretty iconic, and they're all pretty solid characters. Alright, next up, we've got Leon Kuwata. He's got 68% in C/D, and he's got 19% in A/B. I think this is a fair ranking. Considering Leon died pretty early, I think it's pretty fair. We don't really have much to judge him off of other than his free time events. I know a lot of people were voting him pretty high because of Danganronpa Redemption, which maybe I'll play it again at some point or watch it again at some point, but for now we're on hiatus of that. But man, yeah, I've honestly good on him for at least getting 4% in S. Like, that's kind of crazy considering he died so quick. Alright, next up, Mondo Iwata. He's got 62% in A/B, 25% in C/D. I would put Mondo even higher. I would put Mondo even higher, to be honest with you. Also, I will say, I'm not ranking these by the percentages this time. I'm just throwing them right in the tiers. Mondo being in B tier, I would personally move him up to A, but that's understandable. I just think Mondo and Chihiro's dynamic is just so fucking perfect. And even though Chapter 2 is like a really flawed chapter and has a bunch of controversial things in it, I think Mondo and Chihiro's dynamic is just so fucking good that, like, I try not to think about those other things, to be honest. Alright, next up we got Sayaka Maizono, who's got 62% C/D and 24% A/B. I'm really surprised by this. I really am. I thought a lot more people would have F tiers on this one, but I'm surprised. So she's gonna be in C tier. Wow, okay. Look at that, right next to your killer. That might be crazy. Alright, coming up, we got Toko Fukawa, which I'm gonna actually talk about this one in a second here after I place her. She's got 59% in A/B, 23% in S, so she's gonna go in A tier. Now you'll notice right here I have next to her Genocide Jack. I didn't really think about that when I was making this, like, these tier lists. I didn't really consider the alternate egos except for one characters, which we'll talk about it when we get to them towards the end of the video here. I think Genocide Jack is just going to be included with Toko in this, so that's kind of how that's going to work. So we'll put Genocide Jack right next to Toko. Alright, next up we got Hero. He's got 55% C/D and 25% A/B, so it looks like he's going into C tier. I'm honestly kind of glad he didn't go into D tier because I don't think Hero's that bad of a character. Like, I get it, people don't like that he survived over other characters, but I still think he's pretty good comic relief. I think he's a funny character. Alright, we've got the queen of Danganronpa herself, Junko Enoshima, 60% S tier. So, we can just throw her right into S tier. I'm honestly kind of shocked she didn't get double S, but then again, I feel like some people just, like, really hate her too. As much, like, I love her as, like, a villain, but I fucking hate her as a character. Like, how would you say? Maybe I have that wrong. I like Mondo more as a character than I like someone like Junko, even though Junko as a villain is, like, really good. I don't know how to explain it, but I would say Junko's placement up here is definitely very fair, but I'm still kind of shocked she didn't get even higher. So, honestly, good on you, Junko. Good on you for getting S. Even though it was kind of a given. At 51% in S tier, we've got Makoto Naegi. Honestly, good on you, Makoto. I was a little bit worried that he was going to get thrown down to A tier or even B tier because, like, Makoto is just not as interesting as the other protagonists, or at least that's what a lot of people would probably say, to be honest with you. I'm kind of glad he is up here at least because he definitely deserves it. And, like, I think the thing is a lot of people don't know how to look past Danganronpa 1. They'll just fixate on just Danganronpa 1 Trigger Happy Havoc when his character is just really good in every other entry as well. Like, Danganronpa 2, he's really good, even though he's only in it for a very tiny bit. I think he's really good in Danganronpa 3. Even his little cameo in Ultra Despair Girls is also just really, really good. So, I'm glad that Makoto isn't getting just, like, thrown, like, to the side for the other protagonists. So, good on you, Makoto. I'm glad you're up here. Alright, we're now moving on to Danganronpa 2. Now, I already know I put Mikon down, so technically we already did start with the Danganronpa 2 characters, but this is, like, the whole, like, row of them. So, let's get into it. We got Mahiru Koizumi, who has 55% C/D, with the next highest being A/B at 33%. Yeah, she's another slept-on character. Whenever I do my underrated, like, what do you call it, underrated Danganronpa characters, she's definitely going to be in the category of underrated characters when I get to Danganronpa 2. So she's going to go in C tier. Alright, next up, we got Hajime Hinata, my boy. This is my favorite protagonist, personally. 67% S. Part of me is kind of sad he didn't get into double S, but, I mean, I'm glad he at least got S tier. He deserves it, 100%. I just think he's the best protagonist. And I'm trying to avoid going into my thoughts because this is your guys' tier list and not mine. So, whenever I do my tier list, I'll go into more why I like him. Or you can watch my, like, YouTube short I have on it. Either one of those. But I definitely will go into more, like, thoughts with it once I do my personal tier list. Alright, next up we got Chiaki Nanami at 78% S. So that means she's going into double S tier. She got 1% F tier. Wow, yeah, she kind of clears this. She clears this board, which looks like there's a common theme now with the double S tier, where it's just like the deuteragonist characters are up here. I'm hoping Kaito joins them, because I kind of forget where he got put. Oh, and we got another one. We've got another one, guys. A third character has hit the double S tier. Nagito Komaeda, 79% S tier. But you also notice, with Kyoko and with Chiaki, they both only had 1% in F. But however, with him, he's got 3% in F. So that means a lot of people are like, there's more people that do actually kind of fucking hate him. Or they put him in C/D where it's like kind of close. But like, yeah, no, you'll see that like, there's people that fucking hate him. Which I understand why they hate him. But like, if you hate him, that means he's just really fucking well written. Honestly, that's why Nagito's up in S tier, or double S tier. Which honestly, that's why I'm saying, like, I'm surprised that Junko's not up here, because she's definitely one of the best fucking villains in the series. But like, man, yeah, no, she should be up there too. Whoa, okay, this is kind of surprising. Ultimate Imposter, with the majority being an A/B at 56%, and the second highest being like C/D. I can't believe he made it up to A/B, and he even got a 13% S tier. Wow. Yo, whoever's voting for Ultimate Imposter, you guys are goats. You're goats for voting this high. Like, this is another character I would say is an underrated character. I'm really shocked he is this high. But good on you. Good on you, Ultimate Imposter. I'm very proud of you. Oh, I think he was B tier, right? Yeah, B tier. But he got close. He got close to A tier. He's valid for that. Oh, the other character I didn't talk about was Izuru. Izuru's gonna go up here with Hajime. I'm counting them together just because I don't know. I'm grouping them together. But if you guys, let me know in the comment section where you guys would place Izuru or Genocide Jack like any of these like alternate personality characters, let me know where you would rank them. Alright, next up we got Teruteru Hanamura sitting at 58% C/D and 35% F. Whoa, okay, alright. He didn't make it to F tier, but he made it to D tier, and I understand why. He's also our first D tier contender. I think the thing is, I think the reason why people aren't putting him in F tier outright is because he has some layer of relatability with like how he's about to get executed, and he starts talking about his mom and the whole thing in like the Hanamura village or whatever it was. I'm probably tweaking in that last part. Like the Hanamura restaurant. I think that's what it was. The Hanamura restaurant. I think there's some layer of sympathy for him during that. But like other than that, that's like his only saving grace, and I think that's what's keeping him from being an F tier. So at least he didn't join Hifumi in F tier. Good on you. Good on you. All right, next up we got another GOAT, Fuyuhiko Kuzuryu, sitting at 60% S tier, 35% A/B tier, 1% F. Honestly, good on you, Fuyuhiko. That's my GOAT. That's my GOAT right there. I would put him up in SS tier because he's like he's easily probably in like the top 5. Maybe even top 3 for best written Danganronpa characters. I think he deserves to be up in this, like, contenders. But, like, I think S tier is also pretty good. I will definitely take that. Alright, Peko Pekoyama. So, she's sitting at 67% A/B. And we actually got a scenario that I was talking about where both of these are matched. So, since that's the case, we're going to put her down in B tier just because of the 1% in F. Even though it's not much, that 1% gets added to this, and so we're going to count it. We're going to put her in B tier, which I think that's fine, because I'm surprised that she even got this high up to begin with. I thought she'd be sitting down here in C tier, but I'm down with that. I will take it. We'll take it. Good on you, Peko. Alright, next up, we got Ibuki Miyoda. She's sitting at 60% A/B, 28% S. I'm kind of surprised she's not placing higher, because I know how much people love Ibuki, especially if that last video, how she was like one of the highest placing characters in that video. So I'm not surprised to see her this high. I'm just surprised more so that she's not higher. But you know what? She got A/B. Definitely better than some other people. Speaking of which, Hyoko Saionji is sitting at 54% C/D with 23% A/B. So she kind of survived this one very slightly. Well, I shouldn't say very slightly because this is 16%. But I'm glad more people didn't put her in F tier, because I don't think she's the worst character in Danganronpa, honestly. I think she's the most like, honestly, she should be called the ultimate wasted potential, because I think that's what she actually is. I think putting her in at least C tier is good. I will definitely take that. I'm glad she's not down here. I think years ago when I initially did my 1 tier list, I think I did put her down here, but I think this is actually where she does deserve to be. Not that I'm trying to make this my tier list, but like, you know, I think this is fair. I think this is a fair spot. Oh, I feel bad for Gundam fans. So, we got Gundam. He's at 74% S, meaning he's 1% off of making it to double S tier. So, unfortunately, he's got to go down here. I know I'm going to get shit for it. Someone's going to say, well, just add the extra 1%, guys. Like, just put him up there. But no, I'll put him right here. I think this is fair anyway. Like, even though Gundam is like another one of the best written Danganronpa characters, especially from a sacrifice standpoint, well, him and his victim, which we're gonna talk about in a second here, I think he's fine right here. I think this is really good. I think he's definitely up there. He deserves a spot. Speaking of his victim, Nekomaru Nidai, this man deserves S tier. He deserves S tier. This is one of the best Danganronpa characters, like, of all time. I'm not even gonna play. Like, I should have had him in my top 5 characters, because Nekomaru, easily one of the most slept on characters. And he got A/B, but I'm gonna have to put him in B because C/D. Nah, I get it, guys. I know he makes a lot of shit jokes, but like, he is actually a really good character. Like, shit jokes aside, like, bro sacrificed himself not once, but twice for the sake of like either someone in his group or everyone in his group. Which, speaking of the person he sacrificed his life for, Akane Owari, sitting at 53% B tier, 33% C/D tier. Bro, I'm sorry, just gonna say it. These two do not deserve to be on the same tier. They don't. I get it. She said the funny line, but like, at the same time, bro, what did she do for the group other than that? This man sacrificed himself twice. Sacrificed himself once for her, and once for the entirety of the group in the grape house, or like either one of the houses. Like, This man deserves to be so much higher. Or she should be lower. One or the other. I will take either one. But unfortunately not my choice here. Alright, next up we got Kazuichi Soda. Sitting at 45% C/D, 36% A/B. I'm kind of glad he's leaning towards this upper side, because I actually really do like Soda. He was one of my favorite Danganronpa characters for a minute. But I know a lot of people don't like him because of his relationship with Sonya, which I understand, but I don't know, I really do I like Soda. Like that, like the simp stuff aside, like him being cringe aside, I think he's a really good character. Even though he doesn't do as much. Like I feel like he's one of Hajime's like other like good friends. Well, actually, I would say he's probably one of Hajime's like best friends, other than like maybe Chiaki. Like that's Hajime's bro for some parts of the game. All right, next up we got Sonya, who's got 58% A/B, 24% C/D. Honestly, another character that I feel like should be a bit lower. I don't know. I feel like you could argue that these two should be on the same tier. She's a great lead for the group. Because I think she's the one that actually says about hosting, like, the girls', like, group party or swim party. I forget what it was. Beach party. I mean, not aside. Like, other than her taking care of Gundam's hamsters, she doesn't really do too much. And I mean, I guess she helps out somewhat with the Peko case, but, like, her and Akane are just in the background, bro. It's like, they need to step their game up. Even Soda. Like, Soda has the moment in Chapter 4, but, like, man. What I'm trying to say is the Danganronpa 2 survivors, I'm a little bit shaky on. I'm a little bit. Other than Fuyuhiko, I'm a bit shaky on them. Oh man, here we go. The Sea Salt King himself, Kurikyo Shinguchi. C tier. I'll take it. I'm glad he's not in D tier. I will always say I think he has a really interesting concept. You know, weirdo shit aside, I don't know. He's just a really weird character, and I think that's what makes him interesting. I think that's what makes him cool. Like not the weird shit with the sister. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the serial killer part. Like, I think the serial killer part is interesting, and I like it a lot. I think that part is cool. Just like I would say I like that for Genocide Jack as well. But it's just the sister shit that really like kind of, I don't like that. So I think C tier is fair. I think that's valid. All right, next up, Kaede Akamatsu. Sitting at 57% S. Good. You know what? I'm really glad she's up here. I really am. She deserves more time in the spotlight than just like getting killed off in Chapter 1. And granted, I do like Shuichi, don't get me wrong, but I think Kaede deserved way more time in the spotlight. So I'm glad she got put up here. Alright, speaking of Shuichi, we've got a 71% in S. So he also made it up here. He also made it up here with Kaede. Good on them. Couple goals. I'm glad that he's up here, and I'm really hoping that the character that pretty much gave him this spot up here, which I'll elaborate on that in a bit, I hope that he gets up here too. He deserves to be up here, 1000%. Alright, Maki Harukawa sitting at 63% S tier. Another character that just, really good, really good. This is why I had to make the double S tier, by the way, because look how many characters are in S tier right now. There's a lot of them, and I'm not saying that any of these characters don't deserve to be up here. I think all the ones that are in S tier right now definitely deserve to be up here, and double S tier as well. But yeah, that's literally why I had to make the double S tier, just because like this one was gonna get filled up so quick. All right, next up we got Tsumugi Shirogane sitting at C/D 52%, A/B 26%. I think that's fair. I think her being down there is fair. I don't think she's as good as a mastermind as Junko, so I think she's definitely is fine being down here. Her plot twist was alright, but like I mean, her character for the majority of the game is just not that interesting. I'm just gonna be straight up honest. I just think she tends to be boring, so I think her being here is definitely fair. Alright, Kibo, 58% A/B, 30% S. Okay, I mean I'll take that. I think Kibo being an A tier is fair. I think that's valid. I personally wouldn't put him up any higher. I think he's fine right here. I would definitely not argue it. I think that's fair. Oh, this one I will talk about though. Himiko Yumeno, 53% A/B, 28% C/D. Okay, I'm glad that she's not higher than A tier. Like I think right here is like really like, I think it's kind of pushing it personally, but I would put her down in C tier. I think Himiko is like, not to project my thoughts, I know, I'm doing it again, but I think she has got to be one of the most poorly written characters in Danganronpa, where like even though she had this whole like Fuyuhiko-esque story where like her friends kind of die and she takes them for granted and whatnot, and then she tries to improve herself, I think her story is just so much worse written. Hell, I would say Hiyoko, if Hiyoko survived, her story would have been way more interesting. than fucking Himiko. I just think Himiko is such a boring ass character. I think she should be in C tier, maybe even D tier. Like I don't know. Hot take. I know. Go ahead and cancel me. I don't care. All right, next up, Rentaro Mami, sitting at 57% A/B, 23% C/G. Okay, that's honestly kind of generous. I'll give you guys that. It's generous. I'll accept it though. Okay, also we're moving my face cam down here in the bottom right corner now because then you guys can see the whole tier list, so I'm not covering anyone up. I do want to clarify, some people say like, oh, he's the ultimate survivor, lol, how did he not die? That's not his like talent, like actual talent. Like he only has that as his talent because he survived the last killing game. That's why that's his talent. He's actually the ultimate adventurer. I think it definitely fits a lot more. I like that about him. I think ultimate adventurer is a cooler talent, to be honest with you. But yeah, so I mean, I think him being down here is fair. Alright, next up, Ryoma Hoshi. Sitting at 49% C/D, 35% A/B. Okay, so that's fair. That is definitely fair. I'm glad he's not in D tier because he doesn't deserve it, but like, I don't know. He's another character where I almost want to say he's wasted potential, but at the same time, I think it somewhat makes sense for his character arc. Okay, next up, we got Kurumi Tojo. She's sitting at 64% A/B. Ooh, she barely made it to A tier. Or she almost made it to A tier. 18% C/D. Dang. So she's sitting down in B tier. I think that's fair. I think that's valid, I would say. Because I don't know if I would put her up in A tier. I think B tier is fair enough. Alright. Let's talk about Angie. Before I rank her, I do want to talk about the art that I used. How do I say this? I fucked up. I will 100% say I fucked up when I picked this art. I chose bad art. Like, I'm just gonna say it for what it is. I chose bad art of her. I thought it was a cute pose, and I thought, like, you know, it was good art, but, like, when I actually look at it now, look at this art right here versus her right here. Like, she is definitely so much darker in this one than she is in this. Like, one of my complaints I literally make about One Piece, just to kind of bring One Piece into this and, like, give you an example. My goat Usopp over here. Usopp has been getting whitewashed a lot in One Piece as of lately. Like, he used to be like a darker skinned character because his character's supposed to be African, and he keeps getting whitewashed and whitewashed and whitewashed to the point where he just kind of doesn't even look like he's African anymore. So seeing people kind of mention it in the comment section, like after I compare these, it's like, I am a fucking idiot for choosing this art, and I definitely could have chose better art. So I just want to say straight up, I apologize for being really ignorant and just like picking this art. I just want to say that right now. I'm sorry about that, guys. I fucked up on this one. So I'm going to be a lot more careful when it comes to picking out pictures for some of these in the future. Yeah, so I like I said, I'm sorry, guys. I fucked up on that. But that aside, so she got 53% C/D, 26% A. So she's going to be going into C tier. I think that's fair. I think C tier is fair. I didn't care too much for Angie when she started, like, bringing up Atsuan, like, every other minute, and that was pretty much all she would do. That kind of like ruined her character for me. Even though I really like her talent and I really do like her design, I just think the Oswald and like the whole cult shit in chapter 3 just like, no. That kind of ruins it for me. That ruins her character for me. Okay, next up, we've got Tenko Chabashira. 53% C tier, 31% A/B. Okay, I mean, I'll take C tier, but personally, I would put her up in B tier. I think B tier is definitely more fitting, because Tenko's a really good character. And to the fucking ignorant people who are saying she literally only hates men, like, bro, you didn't do her free time events, and you didn't pay attention to her character. Like, that, she doesn't hate men for, like, no fucking reason. Like, literally just do her free time events. That's all I'm gonna say. She's a really good character. I would put her in B tier, but C tier, I think that's alright. That's fair. Next up, this is another character I definitely want to talk about. So, Miyu Aruma sitting at A/B 55%, 24% saying S tier. So, what I learned when I was making this video is that there's a lot of people that really do not like Miyu. In fact, I would love to go show you guys the comment section for this one. Let's read some of these comments here. So, Shuichi's wifey says, I don't like how the fandom excuses her actions unlike how they did for Teruteru and Hifumi. She was equally bad, and I also don't like how fan servicey she was, but overall I did like her a lot. High C for me. This was another comment that definitely threw me off. So, Humdum YT says, anyone who votes for Miyu in S loses any credibility they will ever have as a writer. Miyu is by far one of the worst characters in the series from a writing perspective. And throughout this thread, they pretty much say that she was written to be a non-likable character from the writer's end. And she does a good job bouncing off other characters, but she's written to be unlikable on purpose. And you're not supposed to feel bad for her, and you're supposed to just fucking hate her. Which is completely news to me because I had no clue. That's kind of how people thought about Miu's character. But I can definitely understand it. Like, it definitely makes sense. But yeah, thank you guys for kind of letting me know on that. And honestly, this is another character where I probably should have chose a different picture. Alright, next up we got Gonta, who's got 54% S tier. Yeah, I'm not shocked by this. This is another one of the highest ranking big guy, well, I say big guy characters, but like, I should say larger characters. Because like, that's, I would say Gonta, Sakura, and Nekomaru are all like the big characters in the games. I think the official title is Gentle Giant. I think Nekomaru should be up here with them in S tier, not gonna lie. Especially considering Nekomaru, definitely, in my opinion, I think he did more than what Gonta did in the game. But I get it, people like Gonta more because he's like a big, stupid idiot that wants to be a gentleman. Maybe that wasn't nice, but I mean, I'm just saying it for what it is. Like, bro, he's a little bit stupid, but no, it's not his fault though. That is not his fault at all. Kaito Momota, sitting at 69% S tier. This is the character that deserves to be up in double S tier. I'm not even gonna lie. He should be sitting up here with the other deuteragonists. And the fact that he's not really makes me sad, because if it weren't for him, Shuichi would not be up here. Maki would not be up here. Kaito literally brings the best out of both of these characters. And like, that's why I placed him as like the best deuteragonist in my deuteragonist short. I think he is easily one of the best. Like, he just literally makes these characters both so good. He opens Shuichi out of his shell after Kaede dies. Maki, he makes Maki feel more comfortable in the group and stop like includes her and shit, even though she is like the ultimate assassin. Like, he's not afraid of her. Like, I think he's so valid for that. And let's also not forget that he gave Monokuma the middle finger when he died. He said, "Oh, you're gonna try and execute me? Funny story. No, you're not. I'm gonna fucking die on my own terms." The fact that he is not up here sucks, man. It genuinely sucks, because I think he's one of the best characters in the series. Speaking of one of the best characters in the series, by the way, we've got Kokichi Oma. Yeah, I'm not shocked. He deserves to be up here. I think Kokichi is easily probably my favorite character in the series. One, his design is super fucking appealing. I think his design is so fucking cool. Two, I think him being a very morally ambiguous character is just very interesting overall as a whole. I think his dynamic of some of the other characters is also just very interesting. He's very similar to Nagito, but also very different, because the thing is, Kokichi at the very end of the day was kind of putting on an act to be a villain, when Nagito was actually just being a straight up villain. So like, I think him being a very morally ambiguous character just makes him very cool and puts him up here. Alright, and we are officially moving on to Danganronpa 3. We're starting off with Chisa Yukizome, who is sitting at 59% A/B, 20% C/D. Honestly, I think Chisa is another character that kind of gets slept on a lot, even though like, she's probably the most popular of the Danganronpa 3 characters. I don't see as many people say they're like, "Oh, I really like Chisa Yukizome." I think she's such a great teacher. She did so much shit for her students. It just kind of sucks that she got taken advantage of by this dumbass right here. Alright, next up we got Kyosuke Munakata. 61% C/D, 25% A/B. I think he's one of the most drippy characters in the series, but he's also kind of an ignorant asshole, I would say. I think that's kind of fair to describe him as. I don't know, he's very weird for fucking beefing with Makoto, even though Makoto's plan literally worked at the end of the day. And I'm pretty sure that plan also technically saved them. So I think he's kind of a dumbass, but his sword skills are pretty cool, and he has a pretty cool design, so I think C tier is fair. Alright, next up we got Juzo Sakakura, sitting at C/D, 25 or 56%. And 25% A/B. This is another character I'm surprised to kind of not lower, just because, I don't know, I think a lot of people hate him just because of, you know, he's kind of the one that started the whole Danganronpa series. It's kind of his fault. I mean, at the same time, it's kind of a good thing he caused it, because, I mean, look at all these characters that we get to meet because of him, and it's all his fault. So, yeah, I think this is fair. I would say here or D tier is both equally fair for his character. Oh, here's another D tier character. We haven't had one in a minute, but Ruroka Ando, C/D 52%, F tier 36%. Honestly, good on you guys. I'm glad she's not any higher than that. She does not deserve it. She fucking is just a very terrible person. Very selfish, terrible person. Deserves to be down here, 100%. Next we got Sonosuke, C/D 70%. 17% F tier. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think putting him here is fair as well. He's honestly just not a character. He's not much of a character. I genuinely couldn't tell you a single line he says. Like, I swear this man has like 2 lines of dialogue throughout the whole fucking series. I could be wrong on that, but I genuinely don't remember the many times that this guy, like, talks. But his design is super fucking cool, and it sucks to put him this low because of that design, but he's just not much of a character. He's there to exist for her. That's it. And he's even got a cool talent, Ultimate Blacksmith. Like, bro, how do you have such a cool talent and you're stuck down here? That sucks, man. And now we got the best character out of that trio. Psycho Kimura. Sitting at 61%. Sitting at 61% A/B. 23% C/D. Good. She deserves to be this high. She actually deserves to be this high. She's such a good character. I think she's like definitely one of the best Danganronpa 3 characters. Design-wise, character-wise, I think she deserves this spot. I think that's fair. Alright. Next we got Koichi Kizakura. Sitting at 67% A/B. And we've got 16% C/D. So he's going to go right up here in B tier. Honestly, valid. Valid. He deserves to be up there. He literally saved Kyoko. He's just an overall chill guy. He's got a cool name. I think he deserves it. I'd say so. In fact, he's even got a 13% S. That's pretty cool. He might be that guy. Great Gozu. Another slept-on Danganronpa character. And he's got a cool design too. 54% A/B. 26% for C/D. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of surprised that these Danganronpa 3 characters are placing this high. I'm glad though. I'm happy for them. They deserve it. These characters definitely deserve it. Alright, next up, we got Daisuke Bandai. And 68% F. Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm shocked. Another character that's just not much of a character. Yeah, I'm not shocked that he's an F tier, to be honest with you guys. I don't really have much to say about him. He wasn't really much of a character. Next up, we've got Miaya Gecko Gahara. Before I get into her whole thing, let's talk about the image that I used for this one. This is another one where I used a controversial image. So, when I was picking out images for all these characters on Google Images, I tried to avoid any of the ones that said OpenAI. Or, like, it said something about AI in it. But whenever I looked it up, I didn't see anything next to it that said anything about AI. And it didn't look like an AI image to me. That being said, I think it is an AI image, according to people in the comments section, and I fucked up on that. I shouldn't be using AI images. In fact, with my channel, I don't like to use AI at all. I don't want to try and use AI at all. I think using AI for content and ideas and shit is super fucking lazy and uninspired. Not that what I'm doing is the craziest shit in the world either, but like using AI is just like, it's fucking cringe, honestly. Anyway, that being said, 66% C/D, 17% A/B. So I think she's going in C tier. Alright, and then we got Kazuo Tengen, 69% F tier. Holy shit. Yeah, this guy sucks. Easily one of the worst masterminds. Like his fighting skills, like him fighting Mudokata is pretty cool, but like that's it. That's all bro's got on his name. Other than that, he's just like a bozo. El Bozo, to be honest. Alright, Ultra Despair Girls, let's go. Komaru Naegi sitting at 71% A/B, 17% S. I think she deserves an S, personally. I think she definitely deserves an S. It kind of sucks to see her being the only protagonist that's down here. Meanwhile, like, the rest of them are all sitting in S tier. I think she definitely deserves that S tier spot. I guess I can kind of understand because not as many people have played Ultra Despair Girls as the main games. I would definitely say she deserves a spot up here. Alright, next up we've got Monica Toa, who, she's like all over the place here. She's got 48% C/D, 24% A/B. So, she's going in C tier. Honestly, she's an El Bozo character. Put her ass down in D tier, honestly. I don't really think she's the best villain. I think she wants to be Junko so bad, but she's just not. So, I think her being in C tier is fine. Alright, Masaru Daimon. Sitting at C/D 67%, A/B 20%. Yeah, he's not really that interesting. He's probably one of the most least interesting Warriors of Hope. So I think him being down there is pretty fair. Alright, next up, we've got one of the more interesting Warriors of Hope, Kotoko Utsugi, which I think this is probably the fan favorite of the Warriors of Hope. Her and Nagisa. So seeing her up here, I think that's fair. She's at 61% A/B, 22% C/D. Yeah, I'm down with that. I think that makes sense. Which, speaking of Nagisa, he is also sitting down there in B tier, 70% A/B and 18% C/D. So yeah, he's going right next to her. Alright, rounding off the Warriors of Hope, we've got Jotaro Kimura sitting in C/D with 18% in A/B. So he's barely making the cutoff, and he is going to C tier. He's joining Daimon and Monica. So yeah. And then we've got the worst character in all of Danganronpa, honestly. Haiji Toa. Man, Matthew Mercer, I really pity you, man, that you had to voice this miserable son of a bitch. Sitting at 85% F tier. Honestly, let's make a whole new fucking tier for him. Let's make a new tier for him.
Oh hell no.
Yeah, he's in the Diddy party. Alright, next up we got Hiroko Hagakure. This is Hagakure's mom. She's not as much of a character, but I didn't really know who else to put from Ultra Spare Girls. She is at 55% C/D, 29% A/B. I think it's fair. C tier, middle of the ground. She's not, like I said, she's not the craziest character, but it makes sense why she's here. And finally, we've got the two characters from Danganronpa 0. I only did 2 of them. We've got Ryoko Otonashi, which this is a character that's kind of weird because so spoiler alert, but this character is pretty much just Junko, but with her memories erased and shit. And I'm counting her as a separate character because I don't really think that that's kind of I don't know. This might be the same case as like Izuru Kamakura, which is why I say honestly, if you guys want to rank Izuru Kamakura, let me know in the comment section where you guys would place Izuru Kamakura. Honestly, I should have put him on here. We're gonna put Ryoko Otonashi. She's got A/B at 69%, 16% C/D, so she's going in B tier. And finally, the last character we have, Yasuke Matsuda, who has 64% C/D and 23% A/B. He's rounding it off in C tier. And this is our list, guys. This is it. So let's start from the bottom. We've got the Diddy Party tier, where we've got Haiji. Makes sense. I definitely agree. Should be down at the very bottom here. We've got F tier, where we've got Hifumi, Bandai, and Tengen. Makes sense. I would say even Bandai should maybe even be up a tier, because he wasn't that bad, but he's just not much of a character. D tier, we've got Teru, we've got Ruroka Ando, and we've got Izuyoi. Fair enough. C tier, I think most of these make sense, honestly. I don't think there's anyone in here where I would say that they should be lower or higher. Well, actually, I would say some of these could be higher, but I think most of these make sense here. B tier, a lot of these characters really good. I think that pretty much makes sense why all of them are in the B tier. A tier, these characters all make sense. I think that, I will say it again, I think that she should have been up 1 tier. I still think I can understand why she's in this tier. S tier, I think all of these definitely 100% make sense. However, I will say Kaito should definitely be up in the double S tier. I think he definitely deserves it. He's one of the best written characters in the series. But overall, I think you guys did a really good with this tier list. I think this is pretty close to how mine would look, with like minor changes here and there. But I mean, overall, I think this is a really good tier list, and you guys did a really good job. So, now that the tier list is out of the way, let's get to talking about what the next community poll video is going to be. Now, to get us segued into it, I'd like to show you guys a community post that I made 5 days ago. So, I made this post 5 days ago that says, I'm going to a con in early January and I'm debating on doing a cosplay. Which series would you want me to do a cosplay from? And I provided 3 series: One Piece, Bleach, and Jujutsu Kaisen. They're 3 of my personal favorites at the moment, and I would love to do a cosplay of like most of the characters from any of these, but that's not the point. And Gojo won, go figure. I mean, is anyone shocked? Anyone? No, I'm not shocked. Anyway, so you might have noticed that I did not include Danganronpa in this. And let me say that that was purposeful, because I had a plan for it that is going to be the next community poll video. So let's talk about it. So on screen right here is going to be a bracket for a tournament, pretty much. And there's 32 names in here, and we'll go through them in a second here, but I want to kind of talk about who's in here and why they're in here. So I'm going to tell you straight off the bat, pretty much every male character from the Danganronpa games are in here. From the Danganronpa games, that's the first thing I'll say. There is no Danganronpa 3 anime characters. There is no Ultra Spare Girls characters. well, I mean, you can make an argument for one of them. But we'll talk about it when we get to it. And lastly, there is not many female characters in here, but there are some. So let's go through the list so you guys kind of know what you're looking at here. So let's just kind of go through some of these matchups, and you'll pretty much see the characters that we have chosen. So we have Soda versus Korekio. We've got Rantaro versus Peko. So that's the first female character. I'll point out all the female characters as we go, so that way you can see who you have option-wise to vote for these. If you would want to force me to do a female cosplay, which, I mean, preferably, I'd rather not. But, I mean, if that's what I have to do, it's what I have to do. So, you've got Peko, you've got Ibuki, Hifumi, Byakuya, Toko, you've got Hajime, Gonta. Monokuma is an exception that I have added. You've got Makoto, you've got Gundam, Kyoko is another female character we added, Teruteru, Nagito, Kibo, Mahiru. You've got Mondo, Taka, which that's kind of funny. I did not plan that out. Like I said, I randomized this, but I'll show you guys in a second here. We've got Ryoma and Kurumi, which that's another funny lineup. We got Chiaki and Kokichi, which there you go. Another one. Well, another two, I guess you could say. You got Leon and Celeste. You've got Fuyuhiko, Shuichi, Mukuro, Hiro, Kaito, and Nekomaru. Now, there is at least one male character missing, and that's Ultimate Imposter, which is because I already have Byakuya on this list, so I feel like it'd be kind of redundant to put him in there twice, just because, I mean, they're pretty much the same character, just different weight sizes and a color outfit, but anyway. So, Ultimate Imposter's not in here, and a majority of the girl characters are not. Yeah, so I picked ones that were probably the more non-sexualized characters. Like, there's no Miyu in here. Essentially what I'm trying to say is most of the characters that have big tits are not going to be in here. That's the easiest way I'll put it. I was not going to do anything like that. We're not going that crazy, guys. Pretty much, these are your options, and they'll be going up every day at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. as of this video being out. So when this video comes out, you'll be able to vote for the first round, which is going to be Soda versus Korekio. And Rantaro versus Peko also might be out. But the other thing I will mention is that these will only be out for 24 hours. So you'll have 24 hours to vote, and once the vote is sealed, there's no changing it. I'm going to pretty much move whoever wins the next round. So if Korekio would win round 1, Korekio gets moved on to round 2, and so on and so forth. You get the idea. So that's how this is going to work. It's going to be going on for however many days. I didn't really do the math to figure out how many days it's going to be, but this will be my cosplay that I do to celebrate 3,000 subscribers, whenever that happens. Because, I mean, right now, we're getting very close to 2,000, so it could very well happen before the end of the year. But if not, it could be beginning of next year. I have no clue where our future goes from here, but we'll see. But that is how this is going to work. I hope you guys are excited for it. I hope you don't mind the character selections. I will tell you, when we get to the final character, the one that you might think wins, there might be one more character waiting. I'm not going to tell you who, but there might be one more character waiting. That character has to beat in order for them to be the one that I cosplay. So I'm just warning you that. I'm not going to tell you what character it is, but it is a character that is noticeably missing here, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the tier list video. I had a lot of fun making this. I know towards the end I kind of got a little bit tired. That's just kind of how it goes sometimes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I lost a little bit of energy. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for taking your time out of the day to watch this. I appreciate you. Go check out the Discord if you're not in it already. I give you guys updates. In fact, you might be finding out this on Friday, but I told the people on the Discord on Wednesday. So if you want to get early news like that, I mean, hey, join the Discord. It's in the description. But I'll catch you guys next time. Keep it virtual. Peace.